G'day, Ben from Melbourne here. I got my sun hat on, I got my summer shirt on, 'cause it's time for the summer vinyl tag. Course it's not freaking summer. Piss off, all you northerners and your bloody bias talking about summer this, summer that, oh it's so hot. Well, it's friggin' winter down here. So you can get rid of that shit. I don't think I'll take my shirt off. Nobody needs to see that. And I'm going to do this shit anyway, and I'm going to complain about how cold it is the whole way through. But actually, the joke's on you northerners, because most of you get snow in winter and we don't. And you can stick that slushy cold shit up your ass. Anyway, there's 20 questions to this summer vinyl tag, and I'm going to get into them. It's going to be all Australian stuff, because that's what we do here. This was started by Dylan from Noble Records. Sure you all know who he is. And I've seen a few good ones so far by various members of the VC. So let's get into it. First thing, an album or song with summer in the name. All right, the wonderful Steph Crace and her band Summer Flake. Great kind of dream pop, shoegazy stuff. Beautiful album. Got 3 records out now. Had a really cracking one come out last year. Latest pull, they're excited to have a grail or not. Well, for me, this is... I don't really like to call them grails. I like to call them the thing I was looking for that I didn't think I'd find, but I eventually did. That's just me. But finally, the one I didn't have, the Lime Spiders Slave Girl 12-inch mini album. Fantastic garage rock. Okay, do a whack-a-mole. Mazzy style, so just pull one out of the collection, hey? Alright, see what we got. Whoa! It's Ugly Things, Volume 4, Australian 60s psychedelia. Good stuff. We got a bit of Easy Beats, Wild Cherries, bloody... who else? Masters Apprentices... Twilight's, The Love Machine, Dave Miller set. This is good record. Knock you on your ass. Right, an album with an animal on it. Well, that's easy. Bored with Feed the Dog. And yes, they are some canine teeth. An album with a great story. Okay. Well, this is a 7-inch, not an album, by the Avalanches, Australian electronic DJ kind of malarkey. This was the first thing that they ever released, which I bought at a really early show of theirs. They were still kind of half wanting to be the Beastie Boys and half 1 foot in going full-on DJ shit. Anyway, cut to 100 years later, because I'm old as a bastard, and I have some family members around, and my young cousin, who would have been maybe in primary school, was around, and she was like, oh, show me some, old Australian DJ electronic sort of stuff. And I thought, she would know the Avalanches, because they were pretty big over here, and I pulled that out, and she's like, oh wow, that's cool. And the kids today took a photo of it, put it up on Insta or Facebook or what the fuck ever book, and instantly, within 5 to 10 minutes, got a reply from the Avalanches dudes who said, wow, we don't even have a copy of that, that's pretty rare. So I was a bit chuffed with that. Is that a good story? Who can say? All right, let's tell another one that might be better. Next story involves a non-Australian musician, but it happened in Australia. a long time ago, I worked at Borders as a storeman. And as you do as a storeman, you have to stack shelves every now and then. And this particular day, I was down at the very bottom shelf on the floor on my hands and knees, arse in the air, probably showing a bit of builder's crack as well. And I hear this voice say, "Excuse me." And something in my head said, "Gee, that voice is familiar." And I didn't know why, because, you don't expect it to be a somebody. And so I've turned around, I'm in a on my hands and knees in a crouching kind of very vulnerable position, and there behind me is Joe Cocker. Well, he didn't look like this then. He was a small, grey-haired, grey-bearded old man. But this is the only Joe Cocker record I got. And I needed it for the sake of the story. And I turn around. There's Joe Cocker. And the smartest thing I could think to say was, "You're Joe Cocker." And he goes, as cool as a cucumber, "Yes, I am. Can you show me to the history section?" Okay, well, that's two lame stories, so maybe two together make one good story. Both related to music and records. Right, an album we would be surprised to see in your collection. Don't know how well known this band is outside of Australia, but they were pretty big over here, and I think a few of the Australian people who watch my channel might be surprised I have this. But this album in particular, there's a lot of other stuff of theirs I don't really dig, I think is just a cracker. And it's Australian Crawl's Sirocco. It's a lot of hits off this. Things Don't Seem, Oh No, Not You Again, The Great Lakeside, and of course Errol. Just great record. Good, just like maybe a much more commercial sounding Sunny Boys, like catchy guitar oriented stuff. Bit of a polished 80s sound, of course, but yeah, good record. You may be surprised I have it. Cheap Heat, a record that doesn't cost as much as it should. Well, I'm going to go with The Living Eyes, Living Large on the Great Anti-Fade record. Now, I believe when this came out, there might have been, between 250 and 500 of these pressed. And I'm pretty sure they all sold out. And I think it was probably, $30 at the time that I bought it, $25, which was, a cheap brand new record back then. I don't know what that equates to in your dollars or pounds or whatever else. But the amazing thing to me is that I'm pretty sure it sold out on their website. But for years afterwards, I've seen it in secondhand stores, sitting as back catalogue in new sections in record stores. Like, they can't give it away, or people have got it, and it's like a fucking killer garage rock record. It's on Anti-Fade. It's Billy Gardner. What are people thinking? Right. There's probably someone who's got a better story with a dollar album, but you just do not find dollar records over here unless it's a piece of shit. Right. A 45 or alternate format. Well, I'm going to be a show-off and show two 45s by the Birthday Party for the Friend Catcher and Release the Bats, and a 10-inch of the Hard-Ons, and of all people, Henry Rollins doing the ACDC song Let There Be Rock. All right, where are we? A favourite music documentary or biopic? Well, I'd have to say my favourite music documentary just about would be the Cosmic Psychos, Blokes You Can Trust. This is fantastic. Ross Knight all throughout has that great, dry Australian sense of humour. Anything put before him, he kind of like walks through life like no big deal sort of thing. I love the story because if you don't know Cosmic Psychos, they have a lot of songs about drink and beer. They have one basically just called Let's Go to the Pub, and there's like songs like Dead Roo and that, and there's a story on here by Mark from Mudhoney, who they toured with Cosmic Psychos, I think when they first went over to America, and the Mudhoney boys were excited to check out Cosmic Psychos at the sound check because they were familiar with their records, and they played a couple of songs off their whatever their newest record was at the time, and Mark said they yelled out, "Play one of your funny songs," and Ross Knight was like, "What funny songs?" And if you don't get that, it's because you don't know their stuff. But anyway, great doco. Check it out. It would surely get you into it. A box set. Well, what about this bad motherfucker? Radio Birdman box set called Under the Ashes. Actually, this would have been good for a later question about a steal of a deal. $65, but I think I paid $100 for this. Yeah, it's got Radios Appear, both versions, Australian and overseas version, Living Eyes, First and Last, New Race, live record, the More Fun EP, and Burn My Eye, and also the Aloha Steve and Dano 7-inch. Great box if you love Radio Birdman's, punk and roll, as I like to call it. What are we up to? Most trashed record in your collection. I don't really trash my records, so what if I show for some reason this is like one of the very first records I ever got as a kid. Skyhawks, living in the 70s, but for some reason I've kept the plastic sleeve, which is gone all brittle, and it slipped straight through the other side, and it's a bit worse for wear. As you can see, there's plastic's gone a bit shit there. So that, or maybe their follow-up record, so there's a little bit of edge wear there. But on the whole, I don't fuck with my records, and neither should you. A local album. Well, I can't get much more local than this because they're a Melbourne band, although they're all based around the world now. But they came back to Melbourne and they recorded in, of all places, Head Gap Studios in Preston, which is where my band last year recorded some tunes. You stay tuned. We've got starting to get it mastered. We're nearly there. I'll let you know, don't worry. There'll be a heap of shameless self-promotion about availability of records, where to find it digitally, and gigs and all that shit. But anyway, I'm getting off track. I'm talking about the mighty Dirty Three, and this is their beautiful new album, Love Changes Everything, which, as I said, was recorded at Head Gap, same studios we recorded. They might have had a little bit more of a budget than us, but it's a good room, so it's pretty hard to sound bad in there. And then the next one is an album from a faraway land. And this is as far away as I could find in Australia. And that's, of course, Perth. Way over. You have to take a big 4-hour plane ride or a 3-day drive to get to Perth from Melbourne. And this is Dave Faulkner of Hoodoo Guru's first band, The Victims. Also featured the wonderful James Baker on drums, who played in every band in the early 80s, like the Scientists, the Hoodoo Gurus, Beast of Bourbon, legends. A soundtrack. Oh, that was pretty easy. The Australian film The Proposition, the soundtrack by Nick Cave and Warren Ellis. Great, gritty movie. Your highest recommendation. Well, Steve, really Mike Carlson, beat me to the punch because in his last video he showed this, but I'm going to show it anyway, and it's Orb, their first record in about 6 or 7 years with Tail and Bend, and they've added another guitarist. They used to be a 3-piece, and it is freaking awesome. Still got, the riffs and the groovy, like almost funky rhythm section, but it's, got the Sabbathy thing going on, but a whole other heap of cool psychedelic sounds going on. Probably not as heavy as the previous records. Not that they were a heavy band, if you know what I mean, but big riffage. Unfortunately, I had tickets to see them, and they cancelled all their gigs due to an unspecified injury to an unspecified band member. Who knows? Hopefully they'll be back soon. My highest on my want list, I don't really do want lists. I just see them and I buy them if I like it. But I like to get a copy of the Johnny's second record, Grown Up Wrong, which is Spencer P. Jones's old band from the 80s, sort of a country punk band. I nearly had that one, but I missed out on it. I was about to get it off Red Eye Records on payday, and within those couple of days, some other bastard got it before me. Channel shout out, the great Garner of Born Out of Time. He's reignited his channel. He's not in front of the camera, but he's playing some really sweet 60s garage nuggets from obscure to well-known bands playing like their more obscure tunes like the Kinks and stuff like that. And he also puts in some great garage rock from later on, and loves a bit of punk rock from the 70s too. Great to see him back in action. One of the best 7-inch collections you're likely to ever hear of, garage punk rock. A silver lining. This record, it has silver lined vinyl. Is that what it means? Oh, you mean like something positive about the VC, because everyone's so negative all the time. All right, I'll give you one. All this video, look at my record business like this. I was at the crossroads, I've got to be honest with you, about why I do this shit anymore. Because I was kind of wondering, because it felt like homework for a while there. And I'd lost my direction of what am I going to do. But I realized it was all worth it, because when I went overseas on holidays recently, I got to meet some of the greats of the VC in person. And that's what makes this bullshit all worthwhile. Yeah, it's all good to be like, look at record I got this record, I got that. But if you actually get to meet up with some of these other weirdos like yourself, it's fantastic. I've had a ball. I met Jack and Eric in Vancouver, and I met the great Brian Embryonic Robot, Jason, what's his bloody thing called? Jason Skills, Romulad of French Vinyl Addict, Sean from Sean Spins. Yeah, like it was just so cool to meet these people, really good. And having seen MGK Boston's big bloody bash, I was very jealous that I wasn't there. It looked like a fantastic time. And that's my silver lining of the VC. It's all right out there, believe it or not. And lastly, a steal of a deal. And now, it's become a steal of a deal. I just pre-ordered it. It was a box set, so you probably are like, that's not a steal, that's expensive. Well, compared to what the bastard costs now, sorry in advance, Doyen. I know you get a bit of heart palpitations when I show this one, but of course it is the Go-Betweens G for Go-Betweens box set, and I just pre-ordered it, and I think it was the first, I don't know how many they made, maybe 500, maybe 1,000, I'm not sure. But the one, I think it was maybe the first 100. Just bear with me while I'm trying to open this. It came, and it didn't cost any extra. It was just if you win the first 500, got a bookmark signed by Robert Forster. And what was kind of cool was also you got given a book which was out of Grant McClellan's own personal library at home. So that was pretty groovy to know that the great man once owned that. So for what it's going for now, which is stupid money, I think it was a steal of a deal. Just by dumb luck, pre-ordering, going for it. And it was probably, I think, before everything used to sell out straight away with pre-orders. And the last question is a promo. All right, here's my promo. I'm going to promote my gig with my band, the 1980s, on August the 22nd at the Workers Club in North Fitzroy. You all bloody buy your aeroplane tickets now and get there, or there'll be hell to pay. I don't really have any actual promos of records, I don't think. Nothing came to mind. And by question 19 of finding these things, I just couldn't be fucking arsed. All right, that's it. The summer, like fuck, tag, done. See you in the next one.